for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anyone have a chance to read over the minutes? Second. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you. First up, Sioux County tax property auction. We try to start a Dollar City auctions. And, auction will be starting on May 23rd of 2025. Taking out about June 23rd, 2025. I think the motion is for. Okay, we have a motion by Legislator Gilson. Second by Legislator Scanlon. Any discussion? Right.
Are we going to offer any of these to Community Bank?
Discussion. Kid.
Right, I mean, it's not that I can't, I know you can't, you know, but you know, that's, I know that because being on that, you know, board there,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna ask. So, right?
That, on some properties, that they request, yeah. It goes obviously through legislature and, based on review through offices, yeah. Any others?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Let's forget what mentioned, the signs are going up Wednesday, so please, if somebody calls you, just direct them to our office, in person, I'll know how to handle them. No, roughly, around 89. That's about 100,000, we're probably going to do about 89. Yeah.
Better. One minute. I have another question.
Go ahead.
Are we in discussions with the city of Fulton to possibly do any auction for them?
No,
Not any discussion. They come to us at all?
not that I'm aware of. Not to
I
make
know we've discussed that before.
with other,
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to mention Addis?
you can, I sure went back. The other auction that we're doing right now is, it's ongoing, is the Addis plant, which is the old Miller Brewery. And then we bid, and that closes out in approximately 55.
Thank you.
Resolution authorizing the purchase and acquisition of certain real property located at 185 East Steiner Street, City of Oswego. Lane Burger. Any other discussion on that?
Can you, tell me what we're using this property for again?
Well,
Plans for us.
Somebody's going to be in place to take rent, and the sheriff's department's going to take large amount of it for storage of records. They also have another thing that they're renting another space somewhere else that they would be able to save us money by
Right, start off.
Let's see if it helpful first, but I think.
Whatever, done with it? I'll take it.
Chuck, I
There should
didn't
be
hear.
a documented.
Ideally, it's the price,
This
there
potentially-
was an issue on the sewer, they said that they would take that up first price. You got in there. So we got stuck with another bars. It was something that we're not, but if people there, they'll come up.
Well, the proposed contract is an adjustment for rent paid, not sewer. I will have to discuss that further. I know they have a force main to one of the bathrooms that goes in the ceiling that I think was fixed. It's an issue.
How's the building?
Um,
You're in there. You don't own the property until you're in it every day.
yeah,
It depends on what you're using it for.
Well, what are you using it
And
for?
that plumbing, you're not kidding. That plumbing is a disaster.
So what is the disaster? What's going on? What's not going on?
The water backs up through the women's bathroom.
it comes up through the floor. There's like a circle grate in the floor and it comes up and leaks out into the hallway several times a year. The toilets often don't flush. A lot of them are taped off.
They're
Or they
dripping.
just run. They
The
drip.
thing that Rich was talking about, there was a water line that broke in the ceiling and was just pouring water down into the building at one point. It's
Yeah, the west side of the building, that bathroom over there, it was just coming through the ceiling grates like a waterfall. It was, I have a video of it, it was a couple of years ago.
Repairing the bathrooms, they just sort of take toilets out of the surface.
Basically, yeah, and all the plumbing in the sinks and in the hallway where the something comes through it, whether it's water plumbing, it's all taped.
So if you could, I wanted to give some updates on that. One of the things we've done in the last 2 months in preparation for this, they did hire a city certified plumber who came in and actually ran cameras through every one of the lines. We have all the recommendations from them based on that. That was paid for by the current owners. The recommendations on them, really one of the simple things that would have fixed the problem. I don't want to speak too much to those problems that have been, how they had to take it addressed in the past. But there's a couple things that I think are going to change that for us. Number one, we don't plan currently to have that be a public-facing building. It's going to be internal. We do not need both sets of bathrooms, open and active.
Oh, that's good,
available.
yeah.
And so one of the things they can do is, by not having to use the second set of bathrooms, again, there's too many bathrooms in that room, building where there needs to be. So that's one of the pieces. Secondly, is that the plumber who they brought in, the contractor, was able to recommend actually just simply plugging that drain was the correct answer. That should have been okay. But that would address things backing up. In addition to that, we talked to the city, Craig Revior, who's the city of Oswego's DPW commissioner. We spoke with him a little bit about it, and part of the issue that they were talking about is because of the location of the building, when there's stormwater runoff, it can cause an issue with the sewer program. And so he did say that this is the first he'd heard of it, and that the city is more than willing to help out, as they do with any business owner when it's a problem such as this. It sounds like it might be on their side. So Craig Revior is committed to be part of the solution on how to figure that out. So they really have addressed the issues, I believe.
That's good.
Also, if I could, I want to recommend that part of our plan is to move our mobility management office over to there. As part of that, the mobility management office has worked with the New York State DOT to include, is that in the documents there? About a $32,000 to $35,000 rent that the state is going to pay us to have our mobility management office there. So that's going to be coming in for as long as we have mobility management, just as part of our budget. So just think about everything we've been talking about, purchase price and all that. You're also going to offset that with a $32,000 to $36,000 a year revenue from the state DOT. In addition to that, any work done to that building, rehab, expansion, that can be addressed through the mobility management office is 90% reimbursed. So keep in mind that if we have to put $1,000 into it, 900 of that coming back from DOT. So it really is, I think, works out really, really well to address some of the concerns we have had in the past. And then I don't think you talked already about the sheriff's use, but specifically to the mobility management office. We did walk through with Rick Doughton, and he felt very confident in the current quality of the building. And I think we've addressed the plumbing issues between the city and the contractor came in, and, like I said, ran the cameras through.
Right. Okay, I don't have a vote in here yet, but there's too many things that are, it's too fishy right now. I mean, you got a piece of property that the full market value right now is $800,000 according to the real plumber. and they're gonna sell it to us for $150,000. And it sounds like a money pit to me. And some people look the same way. State DOT money, is that state tax money?
I mean,
So we're paying that.
all the state money is tax money.
Right. Okay, well, I'm just saying, you're saying that, you're gonna get money back from, state DOT. Well, that's our tax money that's gonna go in there to help pay the rent. Right? Or help pay the cost. And we're saying that if there's a problem, that they're gonna take that off the cost of the, building. Okay? Well, what if the cost is twice of what we're paying for it? Now, what if we get into another, like you said, Bunner Street, where now it's gonna cost us, $2 million to get it ready to be used? And you're talking about cutting out, well, okay, we're gonna fix the problem by only having one set of bathrooms. Well, that's like saying, okay, well, here's a nice car, but you know what, you can't use the back seat. So, it's just, there's too many ifs and what's, and it's too fishy for me, and I'll probably be voting against it on the floor, but I'll be doing more research to find out what's going on, but it's just not right. Especially with what's going on in the federal government right now, with cuts, with money coming through, with money not coming through. And we're looking to spend probably, and I know this price is only $450,000, and it's a bargain. We're getting it. Well, I say it's probably gonna cost us more like $1.5 million when we get down above the $450,000. You guys think that we can spend that, and still take the cuts the federal government's got coming through? We don't know yet. It may be more, or maybe, may not be. But it's right now, it's too risky. It's like, you remember a Carrier, people asking, well, should I buy a house or not? Because of what they're doing with cuts. The first words out of any manager's mouth is, don't go buying a house right now. Wait until everything comes back. And that's what we're doing. We're gonna buy a house, and we don't know what's coming through. So, just know that I'll be doing more research on it. I'll be giving my vote up. Thank you very much.
Okay, before pushing second layer of discussion.
You already did the first and second.
Oh, you already did?
Yep.
Okay. All in favor?
Take it.
Way opposed. GT3, it's resolution establishing a capital project of 0525 acquisition of Second Street Office Building for $150.
Vote for it. Vote for it.
Now, you did one,
They say
no,
change-
two, and then you got.
Big two, we didn't do three.
We didn't do three. We didn't do three. One is setting it up, the other one's setting it up.
So we need the first and second for three.
Yeah,
Right.
That was in there.
I'll give you a first.
Okay.
Second.
You first and a second.
Second also. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Everybody vote. Resolution 4, resolution approving real property tax law enforcement. A, agreement, terms of equivalent agreement to die by appointment. Station LLC in the county of Oswego, industrial jurisdiction that mutually agreed to the split payment. So 5% in City School District, 64.6%. Town of Scribe is 5%. City District is 64.75%. County of Oswego is 70.25%.
I passed around to the committee a comparison of the current tax agreement with Constellation versus the new one. And you'll see that the county moves from 8.38 million to 10.13 million. So we're gaining about $1.75 million over the old agreement for the next every year for the next 4 years. Yeah, it's, 2029 is when the execs expire. So depending on whether or not those are renewed or not could change or affect tax rates. Yeah. So that was really that was the calendar, both sides we're looking at. So that was pretty quick agreement, 4 years.
First by legislative order. Second by the floor. And here discussion, right?
I know, both the chairman, Kevin, and Richard there. What was our first request?
So I will get everything that are under the confidentiality agreement.
Right.
Frank, we've got a confidentiality agreement.
Okay, all right, well then.
If we want to discuss it in executive session, we could do that, but, we have a agreement to be signed with companies.
Okay, at the time when we voted on this negotiations, as far as I'm concerned, weren't negotiations. Said I wouldn't be voting on this, voting in favor of this. It's knowledge as to what we're getting and what we, but it's just, it was more of a bully type thing for me. I said it at the other meetings, say it again. It's not negotiations. That's it. So I got to right now. Well, I do that. So, and just my reasoning for my voting. What I'll give.
And we have a discussion. All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple updates. Starting Wednesday, May 7th, it's going to be the start date of the Renew Real ID requirement. So if you're not traveling on May 7th, don't go to DMV for a couple weeks because we have some long lines right now. But I do have to give some huge kudos to all my staff who are doing an excellent job getting people in and getting them out. The IGs do come back from the state, and they do take 7 to 10 days. So my recommendation is, unless you're traveling relatively soon, because remember the Real ID requirement is you need to have that go through TSA, either a Real ID or an enhanced, or to get into a federal building. So unless you had an appointment at the federal building, or you drawn for a federal grand jury right away, which it does, you better get to the DMV quick. But they take 7 to 10 days to come back to the state once we have you in the system. Please let your constituents know that we are trying our hardest. If you've been there, I know many of you have, do me a favor and just tell my staff how much you appreciate it. I really truly believe in them, and I think they're doing a great job keeping it together and all three officers. All at the same time, our numbers are up 30% year to date as well. So it's looking pretty good for this year. There's a few of us, I guess you would consider us larger DMV operations throughout the state. We're actually in with like Buffalo, Rochester, our office, and there's a couple downstate that do the amount of transactions that we do, mainly because we do our dealer transactions as well. And, we're all seeing that 30% increase. So I got to tell you, I work the line many times going out to make sure people have their documentation in order and their paperwork ready and everything. And it's not just licenses right now either. I think in every 1 in 8 to 1 in 10 ARPA licenses. But we've seen a lot of renewal registrations, a lot of trailers, boats, and motorcycles, of course, this time of year, but quite a few new vehicles as well. I can tell that from our sales tax numbers. So DMV, over the last 4 years, we kind of were plateaued, but we're having a little uptick right now. So that's pretty good. In the clerk's world, county clerk's office proper, we're doing a little new project. Since I became clerk, that we have a program that all the district commits are in. It's our IQS program that we use for our record management. And there's a section where you can scan in all of the paperwork that accompanies every one of the participants. So what I'm doing right now is started with the most recent, working my way back. I think I'm in 2022 right now, and all the documentation that goes to the customer net is going to be pull up your name in the computer, not only in there that information, but also have all the amendment forms, everything, your application, any background checks, all right there. So we won't have to physically go pull that packet anymore. It's going to save us a ton of space. It's going to save us a ton of time. The problem I'm having right now is everybody's got the permits in, 87 or earlier. Those permits I've had to put up in the record center, so it's like a day to get it down here, put the paperwork with it, and file it back. So saving some time and energy by doing this as well. I'm going to go meet with the licensing officer, Judge Nazarian, this Friday to give them a little tutorial how they can have the same program so they can pull it right up. They won't have to request their the packets. So I think it's going to save us some time and energy with that as well. So try and modernize the process, make it as efficient as possible. And then also keeping with that theme, we have our Supreme Court documents, which are all e-filed, and I put us on a list to be the pilot county for the criminal records in our county court records. Those are not e-filed at this time. So with Supreme Court, everything starts in my office. With county court, everything ends in my office. So we're going to basically mimic what we have through our Supreme Court records is what we would do, and that'll give us a lot more efficiency as well, because right now there's kind of a hybrid system that the court clerk Hill is using between her and Public Safety Center for county court judges, where if I'm able to get this implemented, we'll have one system, a nice system, a whole process, and it'll make it a lot easier, more efficient, and be able to go online, like say your file cabinets. I maxed out on record space all around. So really trying to do our due diligence and save some time and money and space. Anybody have any questions?
Do you attribute the uptake in cars to potential tariff impacts?
Well, I debated that. I also debated the fact that there are vehicles available now. So when you have a shortage in the automobile world, it takes a few years for that shortage to actually be seen, because not everybody buys new vehicles, especially in our area. I mean, why would you have on a bus that has a vehicle too? So I think it's multiple reasons. It could have potentially have to do with that, but I think one COVID are now coming back on the used market.
Thank you.
Right.
Somebody else? I know, Jerry, you had said in here, because I had asked before about the enhanced, and you brought it up again today. But, and I watch it on TV, I watch them, where they say, well, you gotta get this, you gotta get this. But they're not, none of the news agencies are saying, you have the enhanced driver's license. You're not required to get a real ID.
Enhanced driver's license is like the Cadillac license. You have that, you're good.
And I know that, your people are getting, then the day, well, I gotta go get it, they've already got the enhanced. So, I just wish that the news media somewhere, sometime, get that out there, because I put it in all the more problems here. They have more problems, you guys at your office, and on the floor, and, at the counters.
I have to, that's the main reason that I work that line checking documents. yeah, it's make sure everything's prepared and you're seamless when you get up there. But the other reason is I don't want you waiting 45 minutes in line and then not have to wait. Oh, you can go.
It just makes people angry and say, well, they're not doing a good job here, but, the DMV. Well, it's not DMV that's not doing a good job. It's the news media is not getting the information out to the public so the public knows what's going on.
Right. It's not like you have a stamp on your face walking in that you have enhanced. I don't know what you have in your driver's license until I have it.
Thank you very much, sir.
No, switch over to Fox.
Yeah. Not go there, okay, we can't make this a short meeting, because people all want to leave.
Actually, Channel 9 has been very good at covering that same day answers of their life. They play it over and over again.
So part of the problem with this is when it comes to these licenses, they're not making them standard in how they're marked. Whether they have the star or the flag, they should have one symbol. And it's so confusing for everybody. Oh, I have a flag, but they started talking about the gold star. So and we've talked to the commissioner about it. It's so confusing. And I'm not throwing stones at any particular couple of airports in the state, but one airport locally was telling people that an enhanced driver's license is not a real ID, and they weren't allowing people to go through TSA. So that was the first week that this all started. So, I talked to the commissioner, we all talked to the commissioner's office, trying to get them to change the look of those drivers. All it takes is put that star, standardize the star, standardize the flag, pick one, don't have two different ones.
Right.
And they're like, oh no, we can't do it. So, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink, and the problem is we're telling the problem, and the commissioner just doesn't get it, I guess, or doesn't want to get it, I don't know.
Well, I appreciate the job you're doing.
Thank
Okay, next up is strategic initiatives.
Sure. Three quick ones. They want to give an update on the comprehensive plan. I know that's technically a planning, but we are interacting with every town and village with their planning board. So kind of there's a bit of a shared services intergovernmental thing here. So I just want to give you an update on that. Keep an eye out. I believe Betsy will be sending out an invite. We are in the process of setting up a series of 6 in-person meetings throughout the county. 4 of them are going to be geographic. We've kind of cut the county up into 4 quadrants and invited leadership and folks who maybe stakeholders from each of them, and then they'll be set up public locations for those meetings to happen. In addition to that, we're going to be doing, I believe, 2, potentially 3 specific conversation-based. So it's not as much geographic, it's more marine sanctuary or other transportation, things that that section, that maybe the whole county is very interested in. So keep an eye out for those. We'll be posting on the county website. There is a new county-wide comprehensive plan website that has been created. I'll get you a link to that, but off the main page, but I can have that sent around. And so you can check on your emails for the dates and times of the meetings that are in your districts or around your districts. Again, feel free to include or get us invite information for anyone in our town or village that you serve that you think would be interested in being part of it. Make them shut me a couple questions. So moving on, broadband update. So we are moving, I think, as rapidly as you can in a project like this. We have over 8,000 telephone poles that we need to each one individually get permission to put this line on, right? So we hired a company whose job it is to go through that. They check the structural integrity. They check who else is on the line. They do a whole application process for each pole, and that is ongoing. So we are starting to incur some expenses, obviously, through that. Resolution going through. Not through this way. The resolution to move the funds.
Check.
Okay. So, okay, yep. So you'll see a resolution coming through, just moving some funds up front that we can pay this. The bonding is going through, and the large amount of funds will be available, but we have some smaller expenses that are coming through that are reimbursable, but we just need some money available for that.
On the bonding, the draft financial statement, we expect any day now to take a look at, and we're working with both fiscal advisors and bond counsel on that.
And as a reminder of the map of where the initial lines are going to go, it's all available. It's on the website as well. If anybody needs to see that, let us know. As they roll this out, they're going to be building along the line, right? And then as a section gets wired, they're going to put that live. So there will be residents who have this thing going, within the next 6 months, maybe 12 months. We expect to have the entire network done by the end of next year. We have. So the funding requires. So it will be done. Strategic, I want to give a lot of credit to the way that they're putting this together. they are looking to prioritize the areas that in the winter you may not get to for the non-winter months. So they're really putting together, I think, a plan that strategically is going forward to wire up our whole county, or at least the whole network that we're putting forward. And then as a reminder, I've seen a lot of discussion on Facebook and on the internet about this. This network that we're creating, that the state is essentially paying for, that we're partnering with, is kind of going to be the backbone for development that comes off of it. The development that comes off of that will be done by the private sector. That is something that they're going to do. The state, federal funding, state funding, and our funding is going to help get people there. It's going to make it more financially feasible for the private sector to build off of that. So we do expect that all the cities, the villages, and hopefully any population center over the next number of years will be served. Okay, there, and then lastly, I want to give a real quick infrastructure update. Mark Lombardo, as you know, was hired by my department. He's done an amazing job working with our towns and villages, specifically with those that have wastewater treatment. And I want to have, again, there'll be further updates at probably EDP, potentially also infrastructure. If anybody wants more info on that, though, let me know. But there may be some intermunicipal agreements coming down the road here. There's some, I think, some really exciting projects that we are looking at doing. We have had recently a pretty strong issue up in Sandy Pond that the planning department's working through, and we're really trying to find strategic ways to bring wastewater treatment to this county. So if you have any questions, let me know.
We have to let the time run on the seeker for the Soakers project, and I expect that, well, that's today's deadline, so I expect there'll be a different, another resolution, a seeker for the Soakers project for the May meeting that we'll have to prepare after we consult with the engineers this week.
Thank you. Questions?
I have a question on the funds. You know, like Steve Bolton, I know they received funds for their the police station, substations.
Our funds, yes.
Okay. What, again, remind me when they have to either say no or use it up by.
So we have through the end of 26, yep, and we are actively closing out the majority of them. There are only a handful that haven't spent all their funds, but they have through the end of 26. Although we do have contract terms that may require a sooner date, but as long as we're seeing forward movement, we're able to extend that to the end of 26. It does need to be spent by that.
And they're not able to transfer that to another project, right?
No, the funds all had to be committed by the end of 24, so we're essentially locked in at this point.
Any other questions? Thank you. Next up, we have real property.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kind of business as usual down in the office. The tentative rolls were finished and finalized and published on May 1st for all towns. So those are available for inspection for taxpayers and any interested parties. Now, this is the month when if anyone has any grievances with their assessment, then meet with their assessor because they will be in the office. They're required by law to be there 4 days this month with hours after 5 and a day on the weekend. So there's plenty of availability for people to meet with them. The official grievance day is typically the 4th Tuesday in May, when you can go before the Board of Assessment Review and make your case to them. That date can vary though in towns that share an assessor, so it's always best to reach out to the town and not just rely on that date as the date you think it's going to be. And then the other project that's been going on right now has been, we have a system, it's called RPS, the Real Property System provided by the state. They've been making strides to put that online, where it'll be housed at an Albany data center and made available to the assessment community, which is over 1,000 assessors, all the counties, everybody uses this system. They're looking to roll it out this fall, so I'm going to be meeting with the assessors next month to find out when they want to convert, because we have to move our database to the state to convert to this. The benefits are we're no longer on the hook for maintaining it. IT doesn't have to allow access in to their systems for the assessors and everything. It'll be done by the state at that point. So I think there's a lot of positives to it, but it's really, they're the ones that use the system, so I want them to give me the input on when we should do that conversion. So And it's been a project that's been in the works for years with the state, so hopefully it's going to work out pretty well. Other than that, though, it's just been it's a beautiful downstairs.
Questions? Thank you. Next up is Public Defender Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kind of same place we were at last time. Our big focus right now is trying to find attorneys. We have had 2 Syracuse law grad, well, I guess technically they graduated a week or 2, but we have 2 anticipated law grads from Syracuse who have committed, accepted employment offers. So we also have 3 committed summer interns, 2 paid and 1 unpaid. So we're really making a strong push to try and get our name out there, get Oswego County out there. Now it's working slowly, but it's working. So that's our big push. Rachel and I just met with ILS short before the last meeting here, but her and I are working to try and implement suggestions and try and figure out how we roll over from the Sag Council program to public defender's office.
So other than family court, what estimated percentage of the cases is your department handling?
Percentage-wise, I would guess 70%, 60 to 70. Speaking with Rachel, it looks like there were still, that her office handled last year 1,800 cases. A lot of those are conflicts that we would never be able to handle, so numbers aren't quite right. It might be actually a little higher than 70%, but we're definitely well above 50%. Our problem is that by the New York State standards, the Indigent Legal Services, ILS, to take over full representation in the county, we would need, by their estimation, 22 attorneys. I have 9, counting myself. So they're a long way from meeting the state standards to be able to handle all the cases. So that's why, coming back to big push to try and can't seem to attract attorneys. We have competitive salaries. So we made a real big push to try to bring them up from law school. Got internship program, we've got fall and spring semester externships for credit or pay. Syracuse has worked great with us, but also Albany, Buffalo, NYU. So we're just working on getting our name out there, and it seems to be working at this point. Like I said, it's slow, but it seems to be working.
Thank you.
Attorneys is an issue, not just in the PD. Rich has got an open slot he hasn't been able to fill. DSS is in a critical situation because they're down to 1 attorney out of 4. They're different. Last week, trying some new techniques with HR, trying to recruit attorneys, but it seems to be an issue. I think this is counting that issue. I just want to make sure the committee understands it's not unique to the PD's office that we're having trouble recruiting attorneys in all the departments.
Certainly understand the case law. Thank you.
A quick update, piggybacking off of what Brad had said, interview completely direct and forthright. Things continue to pay out at the rate that they have been. We're looking to be able to budget our fees probably in the fall. I estimate us to be spending about $3 million in my budget for 2 weeks. So I will probably be asking for budget modification. The shortage with Brad's office directly impacts the sign council. Unfortunately, with our office and with Brad's office, we can't refuse to take a case. We are bound by the Constitution. We have to provide representation. So if Brad's office increases, the assigned council office is winding and we have to pay the hourly rate. In regards to our claims, IMS was holding several claims, which was odd, so I looked up with them, and they have shared very limited information with the director at the end of this week or next week, but apparently they are auditing us with the claims. So from very limited information I have, I was told starting in 2017 to about 2022, those are the things that they're focused on. They are concerned about double claiming for the ACP program. What I think that means is maybe a mistake was made and the salary was claimed on 2% grants. ACP usually has a cycle of around 6 grants going at one time. So I'm hoping to get more information. They haven't really shared with me, but they did release the claims after a photo. So we should be getting around $400,000 back.
What's the current income level qualified?
So it changes every year. They recalculate it, and that is determined by ILS. When it last flew, it was around 56,000. I have not followed up this year, but they raised the eligibility rate several years ago, which the majority of the time qualifies for.
Well, and to add to that, 56 is the starting income, but then you get to deduct certain expenses, such as child support, I think the mortgage comes on, different things. So it's starting very high, and then you also get to take expenses off of it. So I would estimate probably 95% of the county qualifies for free representation. Social Security in there?
So you mean do they deduct it?
Yeah.
If you are SSDI, you're automatically eligible. You don't even look at your monthly income if you get SSDI.
What did you do?
Brad, talk afterward.
They do, they count that as income, but it's a very complicated formula. So it depends on how many people are in your household, how many dependents you have, if you have other payments like alimony, child support. So it is a very complicated equation.
You guys get it, don't worry.
We're just gonna put a tail on it.
Just to follow up on Rachel's budget information, when we met with ILS, they did remind us that the money they give us and the hearing money is supposed to be supplementary, not replacing what we have spent, and we are supposed to be maintaining county spend at a level back from 2015 or 17 or something. And that over the last few years, we haven't been hitting that mark, but they've allowed it because of all the transition, and but now they're saying they want us to start hitting that mark. So they expect us to spend more than we have in the last few years. And we've been budgeting optimistically that we get more attorneys on, and so that more will be taken away from sign council. So we're going to have to budget for these, this higher costs now going forward to meet the ILS expectation that we don't fall below our prior.
Thank you. Do you have anything from Board of Elections?
Just a couple things. We wrapped up the petitions, designated petitions at the beginning of April. We took in 369 petitions, which ended up totaling 477 candidates. We did the hearings on the objections and specifications for those petitions April 22nd. Everything seemed to go smooth. We haven't heard if any are going to a higher court or not. So by the end of this week, I think Rich was saying we should have an answer, but I don't foresee anything. Independent petitions are circulating right now. Those are coming in May 20th through 27th. We should be finishing our ballot today, so those will be going out the end of the week for the military voters, and then very soon after, hopefully, for the rest of the absentee voters. Mail check cards went out. Hopefully everyone got theirs last week, sometime towards the end of last week. And we're starting test decks May 22nd for the June primary. And everything seems to be on course right now to have a decent primary. We're not going to open the early voting site in Pulaski in June. There's not enough voters to warrant it, and we're in compliance with the law by not opening it. So it's going to save money, time, and it's just, Matt and I found it not necessary to open this time. Yes, Frank.
I know I asked at the beginning, you didn't mention it, but so anybody could go right now over and pick up independent petitions.
Yes.
Be able to be circulated.
Yep.
The second question I have is, school board budget voting. Do they run that or do we run that?
They run that.
Okay. Do you have to be a registered voter to be able to vote on the school board or on the, on the budget? Does anybody have any of that information?
Appreciate it, refreshments.
Yeah, just the school. You don't have to be registered with the county.
They don't all, sometimes, some of them ask for lists of information from us, but not all, and most of the time it's just for absentee voters.
So registered with school, if you need.
Our school had a registration area for schools.
So the reason I'm asking is there's people out there that don't know, how to vote, and, am I eligible to vote? If you're in the school district, I always said you're eligible to vote. If you're listed as living in the school district, Bolton City School District, you can vote on, the budget.
If somebody's
But how do they turn somebody away?
They should call the district
they should call the
office.
district. Because that's run by education law, it's not actually run by election law. We don't have any jurisdiction over that. So that's all handled by the school district.
Thank you very much.
We also have 150 iPads that are about to be not supportable that we can't use anymore. So if anybody knows of a department that has use for those, they're all yours.
I just said, I want to go back real quick, kind of light about this status. Auction, foreclosure process, I don't talk a lot about it. There's reasons for it, because the synergy that Tony Jack brings. And with the chairman, makes this so smooth. You don't realize how much communication that those departments, actually, county attorney had to have with the courts to be able to go off auction, and with your support, we're lucky to. Along with that foreclosure process, that turned us upside down. Supreme Court ruled, we had to stop everything we were doing and change everything. But with the help of the departments, with the help of the chairman, guess what? I'm not here complaining. So I gotta say, I joke a lot, and this time I'm not. Fantastic job. It is not easy to put a brewing company, a manufacturing brewing plant onto into an auction. Likewise, 200 properties for surplus, whole new process. They did a great job. So I just want to point that out, and hopefully
Everybody realizes that. Fine, Joe.
Second. Thank you.
Hey. Yeah. Kevin wants his money, not his.
Oh,
And Rich, Kevin wants his money.
Okay.